Bronc Bros podcast with Adam Ramirez and Sean Flanagan.
Hello, Bronc Bros and sisters. Welcome back to the Bronc Bros podcast. I am your host, Adam Knows Ball, apparently. Wow, what a douche would name himself that. And Sean, my good friend Sean, we know you guys miss us because we've been gone for a while. But you know what? Life gets in the way. It really does, Sean. And Sean's a father and I am not. But we're both still very busy, and my mic's way over here. So let's move it. So Sean, how's life? Before we talk about the headache known as the Denver Broncos, how's everything else?
Good, man. Yeah, just getting ready for 7-on-7 season out here. So gearing up for that. Just left football practice a little bit ago. So catching up and ready to talk more football.
Yes, sir. Yep, I am getting ready for a big weekend myself. It's a complete rivalry weekend. The Georgia Bulldogs, my dogs, sick 'em. They're taking on Alabama for the SEC championship. Some things never change.
Apparently.
And then, of course, the Broncos are playing my most hated team, the Oakland, Los Angeles, San Antonio, Las Vegas Raiders.
Yes.
What are they called now? I can't remember.
Worst team in the NFL?
Yeah, I don't remember irrelevant teams very often. So, it's funny talking about the Raiders, and we'll get more into this, but like they've done absolutely nothing since they got lambasted in the Super Bowl by Tampa Bay, right? They lost by 27 points in the Super Bowl, and then they were just like, we're not coming back.
Never recover from this?
We're not recovering from this. I think they're still in therapy. I don't know if they're coming out or maybe it's a padded room. I have no idea, but the Raiders are an absolute clown show, and I'm here for it.
Yep.
Do I think the Broncos will struggle against them? Oh, 100%, because that's just what they do. For some reason, the Raiders just always play phenomenal football against the Broncos. Am I wrong?
It's every time. It's frustrating.
Yeah.
It's a division game, so it can happen.
Yeah. Speaking of frustrating, Sean, the Broncos are that, but they are also exhilarating. There's good adjectives too, right? They are unbelievable. They are clutch. They are a lot of things. And when you watch that game against the Commanders, yes, we're talking about the Commanders still on a Tuesday. I'm sorry. But you know what? Sometimes you just got to be present in the moment. We don't need to move on to the Raiders quite yet, even though I already talked about them. But we're not talking about that game. We're talking about the Commanders game, in which the Broncos said, hey, you know what? We're not going to play our best football tonight, but we're still going to win the game. And that is a mark, Sean, of a playoff team, of a championship team, disregarding all of the texts I sent you during the game because I was so mad at the offense. How many times? I don't even know.
A lot.
And dude, we were like getting roasted by Marcus Mariota. Like what? I was very taken by surprise by this game. But Sean, sticking with the theme of us talking about the positives at the beginning of every show for the games, what was your biggest positive from this game?
Well, obviously things have changed for Washington, but this was a game that a lot of people picked as a loss for the Broncos, as a road game to a team that everybody expected to be good because they were in the playoffs. So obviously minus a quarterback and some other pieces, but they're still a decent football team outside of that. Terry McLaurin is arguably one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Outside of Laremy Tunsil leaving 3 seconds early every time they snap it,
my God,
he is a formidable left tackle. So and at the end of the day, it's a road game, right? It's a road NFL game, and you were able to pull it out. If you can win half of your road games and you win your home games, you're a playoff team every year. So they went there and they did what they had to do. They probably made it a lot closer than it obviously should have been with a team that is struggling like Washington. But with the title you have here about it being luck, every single person said last year the Chiefs were lucky. all those one-score games. They weren't that good, blah, blah, blah. And what game did they end the season in? The
Super Bowl.
So, as much as you want to say luck or whatever, there's something to be said to actually winning these games when we used to lose these games. So, I think as much as we'd like them to blow it out and we could just have a smile on our face and kick our feet back and enjoy a Broncos blowout more frequently, they're winning the games. Nik Bonitto comes up with a monster play, and here we are, 10-2.
To your point about Laremy Tunsil, that catch by Traylon Burks never happened. It did not count. It's erased from history because that was a false start. It was clear as day. And I've watched the replay, I don't know how many times, Sean. I've watched it a million times. And every time I'm like, maybe he didn't false start. Maybe he didn't. But when you pause it before the ball is snapped, he is definitely taking a step back towards Mariota. And I don't know how, when there is somebody, a line judge, right? Referees, back judges, all that, none of them see this? This is crazy. Like, how do you not see something like that? And it wasn't just that one play. He did it like 5 times in the game. Yep. It was insane. And they didn't call it but one time.
Yep.
So maybe he's doing that thing where we talk about with corners. They're not going to call it every play, so I might as well just do it every play, right? Yeah. Maybe he's doing that. And then to your other point, Sean, I completely discounted the Commanders. It's so hard to say Commanders when you're used to saying their real name. I discounted that team for sure. But when we're talking about the Washington Commanders, we're talking about a team that went to the NFC Championship last year.
Mm-hmm.
So outside of Jaden Daniels, they still got a lot of pretty good football players on that team.
Well coached.
That too. They had a plan. They were very impressive. They were getting the ball out quickly, which I think the NFL is going to take note of that. Although, Sean, you and I were talking about that too during the game, and you said other teams have done that before and it didn't work out. I don't really remember a team doing it to that extent. But they were also able to just run the ball down the throats of the Broncos, which is a very big concern for me. Going back to the Chiefs game, if the Chiefs would have stuck with the run game, I think that they were very, very efficient on the ground that day. They just don't want to stick to it because they got Patrick Mahomes, So I think the Broncos are showing some holes maybe that Washington might have exposed, but we'll see. The tight end absolutely destroyed us. Zach Ertz, just destroyed us.
Yeah, he does.
Yep, and it's always, every time I'm looking, and he made a great play in the game, but every time I look, it's Alex Singleton covering somebody, or it's the defense is attacking Alex Singleton's zone, right? Even if it's not man coverage, they're like, "Where's Singleton? We're throwing there," and they should, because he's an awesome guy. He's a good tackler. He's good against the run, but he cannot cover to save his life. He can't. So that's becoming an issue for the Broncos, I think. And, you look at the tight ends that we've got coming up on the schedule. Brett Bowers, we got Kelsey again. You got Gadsden. Well, you don't have Kraft because he's hurt. So guys like that, it's going to be interesting to see if those teams, especially the Raiders this week, because he's literally their only weapon, if they attack the Broncos with the tight end. But anyway, Sean, the Broncos are now, is it 8-2 in the one-score games this year? I can't remember off the top of my head. They're winning all the close games, except for the Colts and the Chargers. And even those games, we've talked about it a million times, they had a chance to win those games. They should have won those games. But, Sean, you're talking about it. The Chiefs were lucky last year, or whatever, luck. Some people call it luck. Some people call it they're just good and they know how to win, right? So what do you attribute this to? When you see any team winning games like this on a regular basis, Sean, is this team good? Is this team lucky? Is this team a mixture of the two? Are they the team of destiny? What goes through your head when you're seeing stuff like this?
Yeah, it's Sorry, my screen just went dark.
You're good.
Okay. Anyway, I thought I was going to die. Yeah. So defense, right? Defense allows you to win close games, and
Mhm.
they always, they're so great in the red zone. A lot of bend don't break, which obviously is concerning when you're only up a field goal. Hence why we went to overtime. But I think that obviously Pat's first game back, Singleton coming off of cancer surgery in just 3 weeks. DJ
Incredible.
Jones goes down early. Jonah Ellis was not in the rotation. So, the big guns were out there more than they probably would typically be. So, it's one of those things. And I think they underestimated the opponent because Jaden Daniels wasn't going to be there. And the Commanders are just not that good this year. So, I think it was a combination of those things. But to the point of, winning those close games, it just comes down to defense. And that's what gives you an opportunity. I think the Chiefs had a decent defense last year, and it carried them even when the offense was playing relatively average. I think people would agree that it was a down year for Kelsey. They don't have a top flight wide receiver, or they haven't had one that's been, unless Rashee Rice is out of jail. So, and they're pretty decent, but it's the same type of thing. That defense can win you any game, anywhere. And when it comes to the playoffs, and a lot of these high-ranking teams all play outdoors, and they all play in cold weather cities: Buffalo, Baltimore, New England,
Foxborough,
Denver. All of these are outdoor stadiums, and defense travels in those stadiums, as well as a run game. But all those close games. It all comes down to defense, and that's what we're the best at, arguably the best in the NFL.
Yeah, I think that there is something about the Broncos this year. When you look at that play where Troy Franklin kind of did a rub route and got Pat Bryant free for a 1st and goal on that slant route, and he was excited for Pat Bryant. He was excited that he was helping the team. I think that says a lot about where the Broncos are culturally, and that is a tribute to Sean Payton, of course. I have my qualms with Sean Payton, as everyone knows, but we don't need to get into that right now. I think that the culture that the Broncos are building, they are finally back to being a destination that players want to be at. But for a long time there, it was like, oh, I can't believe that guy signed here, And now it'll be, I can't believe that guy didn't sign here. Who doesn't want to play with Bo Nix and this defense and Cortland Sutton and who doesn't want to play for the Walton Penner group and, all the things that the Broncos have going and Sean Payton and all these things. What really impresses me about these games is you good?
I keep saying that.
What impressed me most about these games, Sean, is that, especially the Washington game, they did not play their best game, especially on defense. But when the chips are down, when it matters most, they make the play that the other team doesn't make. And they even did that in the Colts game, right? They didn't win that game because of a BS call at the end, but I think it was the right call. It's just that they don't call it very often. But anyway, the Broncos are making the play at the end, and I think that is what is most important. But when teams get on a roll like this, Sean, do you think of them as like the team of destiny? Do you feel like the Broncos are destined to go to the Super Bowl with how well New England's playing? Or do you just think that maybe this is like a building block in the right direction for next year? Like, what do you think when you see things like this?
I think the promising part is there's really no one dominant team where any of these teams, if you play the right game on the right day, can absolutely make the Super Bowl. And the Patriots, for as good as they play, and I think they are better than what a lot of people say when it comes to they've played one of the easiest schedules in the NFL. And while that's true based on people's records, I do think that they are still a good team and they're well coached because Mike Vrabel is a great coach too. But I think we can beat them. I think our defense is better. Obviously, would we prefer to have that game at home? Yeah. So we'll have to see if we can get some help. to get that to come to fruition. But yeah, I mean, there's the NFC. You think the Rams are the best team in the NFL, and then they lose to the Panthers. And you think that the Eagles are the best team in the league, and then they lose 3 straight. And the Cowboys are playing great, but we beat the Cowboys. So it's one of those things where, yeah, or the Ravens. The Ravens lost to some garbage team like
the Bengals.
Yeah. So it's there's really this is a very any given Sunday year, and so
no doubt
when you have the defense that they have, absolutely, a Super Bowl run is not outside of the question. But I think to your point, it also is a good stepping stone, regardless, because I think that they're going to win a playoff game. I think they're going to win a couple. I think we'll probably be in the AFC Championship game based on this defense. And if we can win that game, then obviously we know where we're going. So, yeah, I Team of Destiny, that's a Peyton Manning thing, like a Kurt Warner thing, one of those just like all-time great stories. I don't think this is that. This is just one of those great defenses. The Ravens did it with Flacco. There's different teams that do it. So, I don't think this would be some storybook thing. Bo Nix is young. Russell Wilson won it with the Legion of Boom. So, I think it's kind of probably one of more of those stories than it is a destiny story like a Peyton Manning. But I don't get to give a damn what the story is if it ends in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and if we're wearing our white jerseys in the Super Bowl, you can forget it. It's over for the other team. It's just over. That's just what it is. I think that when I look at the landscape, and we'll talk about the AFC playoff picture, you are correct. Every week, every game is close. It's crazy.
Yep.
It's really good for the league, for the game, for fans, I don't care about bettors because those guys are worthless. But it's good for the game in general. And it's awesome football to watch in every game. Even like the Browns and 49ers this past weekend was a good game until the end.
Yeah.
It's close. If you've got a defense, Sean, to your point, you could win any game. You could be in any game. We've seen this with the Broncos for a long time where they've been pretty mediocre. But for like we've talked about this before, for like the last 15 years, the Broncos have had a good defense.
Yep.
Good to elite level defense every year. Yep. We are spoiled here, Sean, because there's some teams out there that have never seen a good defense. Yeah. Cincinnati, Detroit. I mean, their defense was okay a couple of years ago, but they've never been like, elite like the Ravens or the Broncos or the Seahawks. 2000 Ravens, of course, and the 2013 Legion of Boom. Is that what it was? The one that beat us?
Oh, yeah, I try to forget that year.
Well, that defense was awesome, though, dude. They really were.
They were, yeah.
So, speaking of defenses, Sean, Bo Nix carved up the Washington defense pretty good on this game. There were some missed opportunities. One thing that I need to tell myself, Sean, when I'm watching football, and you're probably like, shut the hell up already when I'm texting you, and I don't blame you. But, like, quarterbacks miss a lot.
Yeah.
In the NFL. They miss. Or it's not their read, or they're under pressure, or whatever it is, right? But when you watch Bo Nix, one of the things that concerns me, for as good as he's playing, is that he continues to be so averse to taking a sack that sometimes he just gives up on looking on the field to see who's open, and he just he did that dump off to, I think it was McLaughlin early in the game, and Engram was just like standing there wide open in the middle of the field. And it's like, you wait another split second, you got a wide open first down, to Engram. So, that play that he made in the red zone where he kept his knee off the ground and threw a touchdown, that is Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers type stuff. And I'm not on social media right now, so I don't know, but I feel like if Patrick Mahomes did that, no one would stop talking about it, right? So I don't know if Bo Nix is getting that same kind of press for that throw, but that was absolutely amazing throw. But Sean, I'm looking at still the jittery feet, still dropping too much when he doesn't need to, still leaving the pocket too early. What kinds of things are concerning you with the play of Bo Nix? And do you think that he will correct them?
I think it starts with 40 plus throws, and it just continues to happen. And so, just the sheer amount of throws that you're getting when you're dropping back that much, unfortunately, some of this stuff's going to happen because they know you're not going to run the damn ball. So they're going to be pursuing the quarterback. I think a lot of the leaving the pocket stuff is by design. I think Sean wants to get him out of the pocket because you'll listen to the commentators and they say, hey, he's one of the best throwers on the run. He's good outside the pocket. And I think that that's just how they see him. And so I think that, but again, maybe not again, but when you roll, you've basically taken half of the field away. So if I'm rolling to the right, the whole left side of the field, unless they have an in-breaking route or something across the middle of the field, you're not, quarterback 101 is you don't throw across the field. So, to your point on reads or whatever, some of that stuff is, if the design is for him to boot to the right, he's just throwing a lot of balls away because he has to, because we don't have big separation receivers oftentimes. So, that's part of the problem. Obviously going through the reads and, I can't speak to it. I didn't play quarterback. Obviously I watched my son do it and you see those things that you're just not accustomed to seeing, but sometimes you get those throws like that, just horrendous pick. He clearly just never saw the linebacker. He never, it was Wagner, I think, right?
Yeah, it was Bobby Wagner.
I mean, you can tell he never saw him. I mean, obviously he was, and I get it that the line is tall. So there's a possibility that, it just was outside of his vision, but then you see it on the camera and you're like, dude, what the hell was that?
He was right there in his line of sight, bro.
Yeah. So it's, it's hard to say, but it's, it starts with the 40 plus throws. It starts with the boot stuff and getting him out of the pocket. But to your point, he does have happy feet when the pocket starts to collapse and he starts to figure out how he's going to get rid of it. He's had too many grounding penalties this year because of that, in the sack aversion, which I would assume is coached. I'm guessing that they coach that big time, and that's why they are trying to stay on schedule with all the throws that they do and saying that they can't take sacks. But I think a lot of that boils down to the lack of the run game, and we say it all the time. I think it's less about Bo Nix, and I think it's more about the scheme and the overall lack of a run game. Because I think RJ Harvey should have the ball more often. He just should. Scored 2 touchdowns. He got right to the hole. I don't know what the problem is. Bo Nix didn't have to throw 47 passes. RJ Harvey could have taken some of that load. So, that's I'm fine with Bo. I mean, he's a second-year quarterback that makes a few mistakes here and there. Okay, sure, it happens.
Yeah, I have unrealistic expectations for those of you who don't know me personally. Sean does. And he's probably like, dude, can you just stop texting me for the rest of my life during the games? Because I just oh, he did this, he did that, he missed this guy. And it's like, that happens. If I remind myself that I watch Patrick Mahomes every Sunday, he does it too. He misses throws. He doesn't score in the red zone every time. He throws picks. He's a human. And football is hard. So this is a reminder to myself to just shut up, But one thing that really helped Bo in this game, Sean, was finally the emergence of one Evan Engram.
Yeah.
He has finally come to the party. And you know what? If he stays at the party's going to go into February. Because he is the missing piece. The Broncos have been missing a tight end for years. And if he can play like this against other teams, if he has finally found his fit in this offense, I think the Broncos offense is about to take off in a big way. Now, granted, he has trouble staying healthy, so hopefully that won't be an issue. But, Sean, what kind of a difference does he make before we talk about the AFC playoff picture? does he make this offense Super Bowl caliber? And what do you think about him as far as adding what he adds to the Broncos moving forward for the rest of the season?
A tight end threat makes all the difference in the world, which is
Yep.
exactly why we said to draft one for 2 years.
Yeah.
It's just something that the defense cannot always account for. And guys that do not want to be in coverage are forced to cover. And when you have Evan Ingram's just a gigantic wide receiver. So, when you're that big, you can still block a little bit, but you are a downfield threat and a possession threat. He had a couple drops, and he's had a couple of frustrating things where I think, like, it maybe only be 3 yards, but go down and get it. You know what I mean? Secure it, and we'll take the 3 yards instead of the drop, and let's move on. But when he gets in space, man, he's got a lot of wiggle, and that dude can go. So you're absolutely correct. If that dude is a big part of this game, and you have big bodies like him and Cortland Sutton, and then you got guys like Mims and Franklin taking it off the top, and I think Pat Bryant is progressing nicely. And who knows, with Elijah Moore on the practice squad today, that guy's a burner. So, he hasn't really done what he's supposed to do since he's been drafted. But a threat at the tight end position. I think your best friend Troutman even had a couple catches.
My best friend.
This game too. But yeah, I'm excited to see Evan. It's exactly what we got excited for when we signed him. And I think that the more that they use him and keep leaning on that and showing what he can do within this offense is the next step for Bo. The great safety valve for a tight end.
Yeah, especially if you want your quarterback to avoid sacks and get rid of the football quicker, give him an outlet. And good luck covering RJ Harvey and Evan Engram if
space. Yeah.
Yes, good luck. Now, speaking of Elijah Moore, RJ Harvey, the rest, I would have liked to seen the Broncos add a running back. So here's the thing. When it comes to the AFC playoff picture, I have my doubts. And I don't want to be like, I'm not raining on the parade here, but I want to get your thoughts on this, Sean. RJ Harvey is a small running back. I don't see him as a bell cow, right?
Sure.
So if we're playing in inclement weather and we cannot throw the ball, and neither team can throw the ball, do you really think that the Broncos are going to ride RJ Harvey 30 times to a win in a playoff game? That's my concern. Like, you need a bruiser. You need the thunder and lightning. Right now you've got lightning and then bidet. So, like, what are your concerns there, Sean? And do you think in your heart of hearts that RJ Harvey can carry the Broncos to a win if he needed to in snow or wind or whatever it might take?
Snow, no, because he is a space running back. Unless he can run through the tackles, and they just haven't shown us, because they won't. So he likes to get to the edges. He bounces stuff, and they've even said it on the telecast, should have just went through the hole here, and he bounced it out where there's no protection, there's no blocking. Yeah. So you can't do that in the snow. You just can't. So, sure, that's a concern. I mean, that's what JK was there for. Now, he could be back in an AFC championship game if needed. I know that they said Super Bowl, AFC championship might be close enough. So, there's this outside possibility for something like that if we are in New England or if it is in Denver and there's snow. So, there is possibilities for that. I do not think RJ Harvey can carry the load in that weather. If we're in Indy, which they're fading fast, if we're in a dome or something like that, sure, I think we can ride somebody like that. But I don't think it matters anyway. Sean's not going to do it. He's not going to do it anyway. So he's going to throw stupid ass screen passes in the snow, and then we're going to scream. So it's, he's not running 30 times. If Bo has a broken right hand, he's not going to do it. So I get what you're saying. I think you're 100% correct. But I think even bringing that guy in, I don't think Sean's going to do it. So he'll find some way to scheme up triple option, hand it to this guy, let Bo throw to the dirt plays that everybody praises. So Yeah, I think we should sign somebody. I think we should sign a veteran for the playoffs. I think it would behoove us to do so, but I don't think we're going to do what we want them to do. So I don't know that it's going to make a big difference.
Yeah, Damian Pierce would have been nice.
Yeah.
For sure. But
Yeah.
instead of playing RB1 for the Broncos, he wanted to play practice squad on a non-playoff team, Kansas City. So I don't know what that's about.
I think you can still take him, though, if you give him a 53 spot. I think you could still pull him from someone's practice squad if he wants to.
Yeah, but I mean, the Broncos offered him to come here. And he was just like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to Kansas City, where he's not going to play either.
Yeah.
Like, do you just not want to play? Like, I don't know if that's his attitude, I don't want him here anyway. But, he's known as a little bit of a bruiser, I think, for a running back. And he would have been a nice little 1-2 punch with RJ Harvey. But do you think that in a scenario like that, Sean, that maybe Bo Nix's legs come into play a little bit more? Maybe we see some quarterback draw, some read option stuff they got to do something. You can't just try to throw the ball 40 times if that happens, right?
Yeah. I mean, if the game's on the line, I don't see why you don't. You get some, RPO stuff, or some or some option stuff where, yeah, he's got RJ flanked and he runs. Yeah, absolutely. I think that you may have to, and when you get that deep in the playoffs, you're not really protecting him. You're trying to win games. So,
he's not trying to protect him now either. he's the guy. He's the feature. We're gonna win on the arm of Bo Nix, or we're not gonna win.
Yeah.
So, but if we look at the AFC playoff picture, Sean, in our last segment here, what would be your hierarchy of teams that you don't want to play? Who would be the number 1, 2, 3, 4 teams that you would rather the Broncos not see in the playoffs? Starting with number 1.
The Bills.
Yep.
And it's just because they've been there, and their issue is they're lacking a receiver, and they are doing to Josh Allen what the Packers did to Aaron Rodgers, and they are just not giving him the weapons that he deserves to take that team to the next level. I know they had to get rid of a lot of defensive pieces for money purposes. That happens when you have to pay your quarterback. They lost a lot of that secondary and things that have been there for a long time. But they've been there a lot. And Josh can score 6 touchdowns, and he can run 3 of them, and he will run in the snow. To your point about Bo. So Buffalo scares me more than anybody because they can play in the elements. James Cook is legit, and Josh Allen hasn't shown it, but don't forget how many times Peyton Manning hadn't showed it, and how many times he got bounced in the first round or right after their bye week before he won his first Super Bowl in Indy. So while he doesn't have it, those great quarterbacks, with the exception, Marino and some other people, they typically find a way to get one. And this is the type of year where somebody could steal one, so I would say that the Bills first, the Ravens second. I know that they're whatever, but Lamar missed a lot of time, and Derrick Henry in the snow. He's fumbled a lot this year, but the 1-2 punch of him and Lamar I know we're kind of harping on bad weather like it's inevitable, and I don't know why I feel that way, but like I said, I think it's just because there's so many outdoor stadiums in cold weather cities.
Yeah, it's going to be cold, period.
Unless you're going to Houston or Indy, and only one of those teams is going to win the division.
We are not going to either one. So.
We're not. So we're not playing indoors. We're going to play at home, and then we're going to play in Foxborough. Right now, there's nowhere else we could possibly play.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the big guns. I don't think the Chiefs are going to make the playoffs. So, obviously if they get in, they can be dangerous in a 1-game situation, but I don't think they're going to get in. So those would be my 2.
I think every team is dangerous, to your point. If Houston comes to calling, that was a hard game for the Broncos. And I don't care if it's outside. That defense, like you said earlier, is going to travel. Yeah. Another team that I don't want to see is the Bengals. I don't want to see Joe Burrow in a playoff game, dude. Period. Do you?
50, though.
Yeah, but if anybody can carry a team that can't run the ball, that can't play defense, it's Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't think that the Broncos, I mean, I don't think they care who they play, but I personally, as a Broncos fan, would not want to see Joe Burrow coming up in here. Has he even lost in the playoffs besides the Super Bowl?
Yeah. I think he lost once to the Chiefs before the Super Bowl too, but
Oh, he did. That's right. They did lose that one. Never mind. You're right.
AFC Championship.
Yeah, they had it. They had it, and then they blew the lead late or something like that. I think every team is dangerous. I think the Colts are dangerous. If you can't stop Taylor, you're done. You're
Yep.
done. You're not. Your offense ain't going to see the field. You know, Lamar and Henry, like you said, dude. If you get into a bad weather game and you're going Broncos run game against the Ravens run game, it's not a good matchup.
Yep.
The Texans, that defense, unbelievable. Those guys are awesome. They are arguably better than the Broncos in certain areas. And they are going to beat the Chiefs on Monday night, by the way. Sunday night.
Number one scoring defense.
Yeah. They're going to beat the Chiefs because
They're
they
Thursday
can't.
night, aren't they?
No, Sunday night.
They're Sunday night.
Yeah, Thursday night is the Cowboys and the Lions, which is by the way, Cowboys, they're getting hot at the right time. I like their chances to get to an NFC Championship game if they can beat the Lions, because they have to beat the Lions to get into the playoffs. And I do think they will beat the Lions. I think the Lions are a mess right now. But anyway, going back to the AFC, then we're talking about the Patriots, right? So you watch Drake May and you become more impressed with him every single week. At least I do. He is
accurate.
He is accurate. He is poised. He does not leave the pocket. He stands in there and delivers the football. They can run the ball. They got a 3-headed monster in the backfield. They've got a really good defense. If I had to put a hierarchy on it, Buffalo's up there too, obviously, because like you said, they've been there. They've done it. They've gone to Kansas City, 4 years in a row or something like that? Three out of the last 4 years, they've gone to Kansas City. So coming to Denver, it's not going to be easy, but it's just going to be like, okay, we've done this before.
Yeah.
If you get Buffalo into a situation where they have to throw the football, the Broncos will win that game because they can't protect Josh Allen to save their lives. But if you get into a game where Buffalo's controlling the clock and they're running the ball and we can't stop James Cook part 2, it's going to be a long day. Doesn't matter if it's in Denver or Buffalo. So I would say in order, man, I think Kansas City's still dangerous too if they get in. I really do. No, well, I know, but what if so if they got in, would they be in your top 3?
Oh yeah, of course. You can't win that many Super Bowls and be a dynasty, and you're a threat at the 7th seed. They could win 3 road games.
Hell yeah, they are. Hell yeah, they are. So until they're eliminated, I got to say Kansas City is number 1. New England would be number 2. Especially on the road. I'm not sure. The thing about New England is they're not battle tested like the Broncos. They're just kind of blowing through everybody pretty much, except for that Buffalo game when they went into Buffalo. But they are good, dude, and they're well coached. And I don't know, man. That would be a tough one. And then the third team, I'll go with Buffalo. And then the fourth team, dude, I don't want to see Cincinnati, bro. So here's the thing. Joe Burrow in the playoffs, Lamar Jackson in the playoffs.
True.
Right? We've seen and that Ravens defense is atrocious, dude. They are so bad.
The Bengals and the Ravens are both.
Yeah.
So,
but I think the Ravens defense was here and now they're down here, and the Bengals were down here, and they look a little bit better recently.
Yeah.
They're not like a top 15 defense or anything like that, but they look better. And if they're competitive enough and you got Joe Burrow healthy, do you really want to see that?
Arguably the best quarterback in the league when he's healthy.
Yeah. So the teams that I'm not scared of are the Chargers, the Steelers.
Won't make it.
Yeah, the Steelers.
Chargers are going to fall out with Herbert's injury. That's going to linger. They're going to fall out of the playoffs.
Yeah, good luck beating Denver with that hand injury, dude, or Kansas City or whoever. By the way, going back to the New England thing, Buffalo, we want them to win this weekend. Is it Buffalo? This weekend, right? Buffalo, New England.
That's a good question. I didn't look.
Or maybe it's Baltimore. I know they got Baltimore and Buffalo 2 weeks in a row, and those are two desperate teams, playoff experience teams. If they can win those games, I think the Broncos will get the 1 seed.
Yeah,
and we'll be sitting pretty. We know that Denver is a house of horrors for New England, but we also know that New England, Foxborough, is a house of horrors for the Broncos, historically anyway. So just looking at the playoff landscape, it's fun to just think about the matchups, right? But all of these teams are scary. But you know what? So are the Broncos, because do you want to be in a close game with the Broncos in the fourth quarter? Hell no, you don't, because guess who's going to win? The Broncos are going to win. They make the plays. They've got the defense. And we could very easily be talking about a Broncos, Cowboys, Broncos, Rams, Broncos, Eagles, Broncos, Bears, Super Bowl, right?
Yeah. Well, and traditionally too, in the playoffs, there are less penalties. And one of the Achilles heels of the Broncos defense is they are the most penalized team in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
You start taking some of those away and they're even more dangerous, so obviously you can't do the stupid stuff like Bonitto did and, some of those neutral zone infractions and stuff like that. But you don't want to see this defense any given Sunday in the playoffs. Nobody does. Nobody wants to see Pat. Nobody wants to see Bonitto and Cooper. Nobody wants to see Zach Allen. Greenlaw is getting healthy. It's I think the way we're speaking about other teams, there's probably people speaking about us.
Oh, I'm speaking that way about us too, though.
Yeah.
Because our defense is terrifying. It should be terrifying to everybody. I think they can get got a little bit in the run game. They've shown some holes there lately. Maybe it was DJ Jones going down. That probably did not help.
Yeah.
And he went down on a hell of a play. He made a nice play. So hopefully, have we heard anything? Is he?
I didn't look.
It must not be that bad. Hopefully. I hope not anyway. But we've got guys, right? We've got depth there. If we need to step up, and I'm really looking forward to the rest of the season. The Broncos really need to take care of business against Las Vegas this weekend, though.
Yep.
Like, do not mess around. Do not put them away in the second quarter kind of game, because the more that Vegas hangs around with Denver, they just get more confident because they know every time they play the Broncos, for some reason, they play their best game. I don't understand what it is. It doesn't matter how bad the Raiders are. Geno Smith probably won't even throw a pick. That's how good they play against the Broncos. It's crazy. So once we take care of that game, then it's a murderer's row for the Broncos, because you've got the Packers, the Jaguars, the Chiefs, and the Chargers to finish the season. How many of those games, Sean, before we wrap this thing up, do you think the Broncos win, and how many of them do they have to win to get home field?
I think we're going 13-4,
okay.
Which would be in a virtual tie with the Patriots if they lose to the Ravens and the Bills. I think we have the tiebreaker right now, depending on obviously who we lose to or beat based on the conference records and things like that. So, a loss to the Packers is less damaging than, a loss to, say, the Chiefs.
That's going to be a hell of a game, Sean.
Yeah. So, I think we beat the Raiders. You split the last 4, and we're the 1 seed.
So Packers and Chiefs?
Did we lose to?
Yeah.
Packers and Chiefs probably. Yeah, the Chargers I think are going to be eliminated by the time we play them in the last game. So but we may have clinched then too. So we could be sitting people too. So, but yeah, I think 13-4. That might have even been my preseason prediction. I think
it was. I was going to say that.
Yeah. So I don't think I picked all the games exactly right, but I think that's what I picked. So I think that's the number, man. If you want to be the 1 seed, you got to get to 13. So
you really don't think the Chargers are going to make the playoffs at all?
Not with Herbert's injury. No, I don't.
Who's going to catch him? Houston, I guess?
Yeah.
Houston and Indy will take those 2 spots. Is that what you're
crazy.
saying?
Three teams out of that division are going to make the playoffs. That's insane.
That is absolutely bananas.
Yeah.
And one team in your scenario out of the AFC West would make it, and it would be the Broncos.
Yep.
I think that there's a real possibility they could lose to the Raiders. Just because this is what happens when they play the Raiders. It's close, and I don't know, man. You can't be asleep at the wheel for 2 consecutive opponents, you know?
Yeah. Especially on the road.
And it's on the road. Well, kind of.
Yeah.
Denver West.
Yeah, in the spaceship.
Yeah, I think the Broncos have to go. Dude, you might call me crazy. I think they got to go 14-3 to get home field.
Whew.
Because I don't think the Patriots are going to lose to anybody except maybe the Bills. And I don't even know at that point if we even have the tiebreaker with them. I don't know. I don't think we do have it right now, do we?
It's going to come out of the conference record because we don't play head to head. So
what's our so who have we beat in the conference? We've beaten the Chiefs, the Raiders, the Bengals. Is that it?
No.
Oh, and the Jets.
Jets, yeah.
So, and then if we beat the Raiders, that'd be 5. Chargers would be 6.
Yeah, there's no way we've only played 4 conference games.
Yeah,
so
what
am
I? Oh, Titans.
Yep.
Titans would be 5. Texans is 6.
And then the losses to the Colts and the
Chargers. So 6-2
in the conference, yeah.
And who have the Patriots lost to?
They only have 2 losses, but I'm not sure who they lost to.
They lost to the Raiders. Yep. They lost to the Raiders and the Dolphins?
Maybe, yeah. I don't know.
I can't remember either. Let's look it up real quick, just because I want to know. Patriots 2025 football schedule. Was it the Steelers? Let's see.
I didn't really even start watching them until they were good, I guess.
They lost to the Raiders, beat the Patriots, lost to the Steelers. So they have 2 conference losses too.
Yeah, so it could come down. Yeah, it's going to come down to these last games.
Yeah, so if they lose to the Ravens and the Bills, we can lose. Well, I don't know. What's the tiebreaker after that?
I think it's division record is the third. I think it's head-to-head conference and then division, I think.
Oh, man. So we can only lose to the Packers and the Jags then.
Yeah, but obviously the Jags are AFC, so a win there would be good too.
It's true. So right now the Broncos are 6-2 in the conference, 7-2 against the Raiders, 8-2 against the Jags, 8-3 against the Chiefs, 9-3 against the Chargers. I think 9-3 gets it done.
Yeah, I would think so.
So if you only lose to the Packers for the rest of the year, you're probably the 1 seed.
Yeah, I would think you're definitely the 1 seed. Because
okay,
I think the Patriots are going to lose at least 1 game, and we're going to be, which would have us tied, which would get us the 1 seed.
It's got to be the Bills. I don't think the Ravens are good, dude. Like I think they have some major issues there, and they're probably about to ready to move on from their coach, along with the Steelers, by the way. But do the Broncos have to get home field before we wrap it up for real this time? Do they have to get home field to win to go to the Super Bowl?
Not with that defense. 1 or 2 will be good enough.
And that's what they're going to be, right? Barring some catastrophe, they're going to be the 1 or the 2.
Yep.
Do the Broncos handle the Patriots with ease at home in a championship game?
I don't think either of those teams handles either one the other with ease. I think it's going to be a hard-fought game.
Evenly matched up, yeah.
Yep, it's going to be close.
Watch
It's going to be one of the most stressful games of the season, which is crazy to say.
Watch it be Buffalo, dude. Watch it be Buffalo and Denver, and Buffalo coming to Denver for the AFC Championship. That would be crazy, dude.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you, everybody, for listening. This has been fun. I'm glad, a little perspective here. I'm glad we were able to talk about seeding, playoff games, inclement weather in January, instead of like, who are we going to get to be the quarterback? Who is going to be the next head coach? Why don't we have an owner? You know, and those are the things that I need to remind myself of about how good we have it right now. Whether we win the Super Bowl or not, it's like, dude, we are leaps and bounds ahead of where we even thought we would be this year.
Yep.
So good stuff, Broncos fans. Thank you for listening. Make sure you subscribe to us at Bronc Bros _ on Instagram. I'm at Adam Knows Ball. I got to change that _ on Instagram. I'm taking a little bit of a break, but you can still follow me on there. This is Sean. He doesn't have a handle because he's too cool for that, with his natural beard over there and his new tattoos. And for some reason, he's darker than me. I don't know why that is, but we'll have
White
to
people in the South.
We'll have to delve into that at another time. Thank you all. Make sure to subscribe. Listen to us on YouTube. Send to a friend. Listen to us on your favorite podcast platform. We will be back after a victory over the Raiders next week. Hopefully, my goodness. It'll be a disaster if they don't beat the Raiders, won't it?
Yeah.
And the Patriots win. Yeah. So hopefully we'll be joining you after a Broncos win over the Raiders. For Sean, I am Adam. Thank you for joining us. And as always, go Broncos and go, you know what, Raiders.
Go Broncos.